Hello, everyone. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm going to allow a few seconds for you to settle in, but I just want to welcome you to another Chatter Matters. I'd love if you could put in a chat where you're tuning in from and if this is your first session or not. In case you're new here, Chatter Matters is our community series where we roll out the red carpet for one of our Manychat super users. And my name is Raquel. I'm Manychat's community manager, and I'll be your host for today, as usual. It's nice to see you again. And while you're doing that, while you're chatting away in the chat, I just have a few housekeeping items to share with you. Um, First of all, let's move to the next slide, please. First of all, this event follows our community code of conduct that I'll put in the chat very shortly. And it's also being recorded and will be shared in our community space tomorrow. So please make sure you log in to community.manychat.com to find the recording, to find more information about Justin, and also to get talking after the event. We have a lot of amazing content from your users there, so you don't want to miss out. And during the event, please make sure you add your questions to the Q&A section, just in the bottom bar of Zoom. So our support agent, Meline and Justin, don't miss out your questions during the event. And also while you're chatting away, this last thing, I promise, while you're chatting away, Zoom has this annoying feature that says, while you're chatting, has a box saying to everyone or to hosts and panelists. Make sure you select to everyone so we can chat with everyone and can chat and see your message. So that is it for me. So let's see what you're saying in the chat. I'm in Amsterdam, by the way. It's definitely spring here. It's official. The tulips are out and the sun is hitting my face. So we have Sam from Cape Town, South Africa. We have John from Atlanta, his first event, first from Nika. This is amazing. So this is great. Even if it's our first session, this is perfect for you to get started. Also with the Chatter Matters, we have a lot of other sessions available in our community space if you'd like to see other ones. But we always host these sessions usually on the third Tuesday of the month to, to mostly to every ManyChat level. There is always something that you can learn from our ManyChat super users. So this is great. We have David from Europe. We have Tiara from Kansas. Well, welcome everyone. It's amazing to see you all here together. So don't forget that if you have any questions, please put in the Q&A box so we don't miss out on your questions. Anyway, I guess it's time to introduce our speaker. Justin is a full-time creator since 2014, and he has earned over $5 million through brand sponsorships and spent 7 years running an influencer marketing agency. Justin is now a sponsorship coach, an author of Sponsor Magnet, and the founder of Creative Wizard, a school and community that helps creators land and negotiate brand partnership deals. Well, I'm very excited to know more, Justin. Welcome.
Thank you, Raquel. I'm so thrilled to be here. And I see each and every one of you here in the chat. I see Joe, I see Aaron, I see Daniel, all over the world, South Africa, Sarasota, Pakistan, Texas. I love to see it. Representation from all over the world. We're going to be having a lot of fun today, okay? Because we are going to be talking about how to use ManyChat to increase ROI for brand partnerships. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and we're going to dive right into this thing. So the way I'm envisioning this format will work for our conversation today is I've got a few things to talk about, but I want to make sure that we have some time for Q&A towards the end of this conversation. So don't worry. As Raquel mentioned, in Zoom, there's that little Q&A feature on the bottom where you can ask your questions, and we'll make sure to talk about that towards the end. So again, if you didn't share, Put it in the chat where you're tuning in from. And I want to just give a quick overview of like, okay, who the heck is this guy? Why should you even listen to me? So my name is Justin Moore. And as Raquel mentioned, I run a company called Creator Wizard. And I am a sponsorship coach. Drop it in the chat. Have you ever heard of a sponsorship coach? What the heck is that? You're probably thinking are you a manager? Are you an agent? Are you a broker? How do you actually help me get deals? I'm none of those things. I educate you. I teach you, and you keep 100%. Does that sound good? Why give a cut to anyone? You don't got to do that. And so I've been a full-time creator along with my wife, April, since 2014. Actually, first channel that we started on the internet was in 2009. So we've been doing this a really long time, full-time for over a decade. I also ran an influencer marketing agency for about 7 years. And this has afforded me a very unique perspective into brand partnerships, which is that I was on the other side of it, on the other side of the fence, where I was in the big boardrooms with these advertisers now, where they were saying, hey, hey, Justin and April, which is my wife, April, we don't want to just pay you 5K, 10K. We want to spend $1 million on an influencer campaign across, 200 creators. What should the strategy be? Who should we hire? What platform should we be on? So it was a very different perspective. And so over the last number of years, I have basically focused entirely on educating creators around the process. And so I have this mission to help creators secure 1 million paid partnerships by 2032. So I am very excited about this. We're going to have a lot of fun. And I want to, huge shout. We got Jessica DiPietro in the chat. Jessica's one of my coaching clients. Good to see you here. She says, Justin is the best coach ever. I did not pay Jessica to say that. She said it on her own, but good to see you here. So real quickly, I'm gonna take a wild guess here and guess why I think you are at this session. Number one, you want to get more paid sponsorships. Drop it in the chat if you're seeing one of these three things. You want to get more paid sponsorships, you want to get paid more for each sponsorship, and you want to get brands to hire you again. If one of those things, drop it in the chat, or if I'm missing something. What am I missing here? Rebecca says, I have never had a paid partnership. How do I start? All three, says Demetrius. This is good. Tiara says all three. Yeah, this is kind of a leading question, right? Because of course we want all three, right? Kimberly says, I never had. So don't worry. We're going to talk about a lot of that today. Ashley says all three. All right. Love to see it here. So here's what we're going to cover in today's session. So we're going to talk about automated flow ideas for engaging with inbound opportunities. So let's say you've built your presence up on the internet and you're starting to get people actually reaching out via DM to you, interested in collaborating with you. Sometimes it might be a bit tricky ascertaining whether this brand is legitimate. Is this a scam? I've heard this before that like people are nervous to like interact with people because they don't know whether it's like a legit brand. And so we're going to be talking about how do you actually automate some of these flow ideas so that you can start developing some criteria to determine whether you actually want to pursue opportunities that you're getting? And then the next section of the talk that we're going to cover is automated keyword triggers that you can use when you're actually publishing sponsorships that will help you increase campaign performance with some of these sponsors. Okay. And then we're going to dive into Q&A towards the end. Does this sound good? Or come on. Let's hype it up in the chat here. You didn't know that I had sound effects, but let's go. Come on. All right. Demetrius says good, right? Who else? Drop a 1 in the chat if you're ready. Drop the money tongue emoji. Anyone like the money tongue emoji? What's your favorite emoji? How about there's also a money with wings. Come on, drop it in the chat. We got a bunch of ones. All right, there we go. Fire emojis from there we go. There we go. Money bag. Aaron's got the money bag. All right, I love to see it here. Okay, so let's dive in. So first and foremost, here's what we're not going to cover today. And I think I mentioned this a bit earlier. So we're not going to do a 101 on Manychat today. Okay, so if you want in-depth technical tutorials about how to use Manychat, set up basic automations, you can go to manychat.com. You can go to the community that Manychat has created. They have lots of in-depth, they have a knowledge base, they have tutorials. So make sure to go check it out there. And folks from the Manychat team who are on the chat here will also be able to advise you and direct you to the right resources there. So we're not going to cover that today. Okay. We're going to talk specifically about brand partnerships. Okay. Just want to clarify that. So let's talk about engaging inbound inquiries. So I talk with a lot of people who are kind of overwhelmed by brand partnership opportunities in general, or maybe they just ignore them because they don't want to deal with them. Especially as you start growing your audience, you might start getting completely inundated with people reaching out, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on Instagram, whatever platform it is. You all of a sudden are getting this like huge amount of messages, and it's just like, a lot of it is just like, we'll send you a free thing, or a lot of it is like, be an affiliate for us, TikTok shop, and like this type of thing. But a lot of them seem not legitimate, right? It's like they're just like spamming people, hoping that someone responds. Let me know in the chat, is this you? Are you someone who's kind of turned down or ignored opportunities before because it's just really difficult to know how to actually do this, or maybe you don't want to screw it up, things like this? Yeah, John says yes. Rebecca says yes. It's hard to know who's real. Peter says yes. Okay, this is great. This is really good. And so Robin says, oh yeah, they mostly seem like spam. Callie says, yes, I think they're all scams. And so first and foremost, I want to empathize with each and every one of you that yes, there are a lot of scams out there. And so we do need to be cautious and judicious with how we're evaluating some of this stuff. But what I want to talk about is there actually are some ways that you can automate the filtering of brands that are reaching out to you to only engage with the ones who are serious about collaborating, okay? So I want to go over some kind of high level ideas. And so what you're looking at here is just kind of a basic automation, basically like a welcome message that when someone opens up your DM, regardless of whether it's on Facebook or Messenger or, Instagram, et cetera, you can have this welcome message. And one of those things can be, hey, are you interested in collaborating with me? Are you a brand or a company who's interested in doing some sort of partnership? And then you get put down basically a different flow, a different automation based on who it is that's actually reaching out to you. And so I wanted to kind of go through some of these high level ideas that I have for you about engaging inbound inquiries. So the first and foremost, so one of the things that I teach, I wrote this book called Sponsor Magnet that I'll kind of pull some frameworks and strategies from. But the first and most important piece of advice that I give to creators about ascertaining how can you tell whether a brand is serious or not when they are reaching out to you is focusing on 3 to 5 essential questions in your initial flow to basically increase the completion rates of this form. So what you don't want to do is have this super complex automation with like 20 steps, because if there is a brand that's interested, they're going to start feeling like, oh my God, how many questions are there to this automation? I don't want to answer all these things. I just want to get on a phone call. I want to send them an email. I can't deal with this. And then they abandon the flow. Okay. And that's not what you want to do. And so what we want to do is design, okay, what are the 3 to 5 most important questions that we should have in this simple flow that will increase those completion rates? Okay. And so my advice is the number one most important question that you should have in this flow is, what is your success? What are your success metrics? What best describes your main campaign goal, right? These are all versions of the same question. And what I teach in my book is something called the ARC framework. So it's basically this number one question. It's like, what is success to you? What would a win look like to you? What is your main goal for this campaign? It's basically whatever version of that resonates with you. It's 100% of the time going to be one of 3 things, or all 3. It's going to be awareness, it's going to be repurposing, or it's going to be conversion. And you should allow the brands to select 1 or 2 or all 3 of those things. Okay, and you can give some brief explanations of what each of those things are. But this is the number one most important thing that you need to ask brands, because it's so important to you whether to know, like, okay, is all they care about like driving sales? Okay, well, I'm going to provide probably a very different recommendation to that brand versus someone who says, we just want to get the most amount of views, most amount of impressions, most amount of engagement. That is going to be an awareness focused campaign. So this is question number 1. Okay. And real quickly in the chat here, we've got a folk from the Manychat team here who is providing some links to the community. If you need some more in-depth tutorials about Manychat, et cetera, I see some people asking questions about Manychat. That's the best place to look for that. Okay. So that's question number 1, is understanding the brand's campaign goal. A lot of people want to know, they want to put a question out there to ensure that a brand is able to meet their minimum budget threshold to actually get out of bed, right? I talk with creators all the time where they're like, oh man, I like pull the thread on interacting with a sponsor, and then I get on the phone call with them. I do the whole dog and pony show. They seem excited, and then they say, "Oh, well, our budget is $50." Or our budget is $100 or whatever. And it's like, oh, I don't have time for that. Especially if you have this large volume of inquiries that you're getting. It is reasonable for you to say, okay, like, what is the number? What is the minimum number? I call it, what's your heck yeah number? What's your heck yeah number that will get you out of bed, that will get you excited? But critically, you are asking about a budget range in this next question. It's not, hey, what's your budget? Because oftentimes a brand doesn't want to tell you that, right? They want to be like, oh, well, how much do you charge? What's your standard rates? And you don't want to do that necessarily, but what you do want to do is give them an opportunity to give you a range. So maybe that's under 1K, maybe that's 1 to 5K, maybe that's 5K plus or something like that. So that can give you a sense of understanding, is this someone that I want to engage with further? Do I want to get on a phone call with them? Do I want to interact over email and ask more questions? It is totally reasonable, especially if you have a large inbound volume to ask some of these questions, okay? The next question that I think is a really important one to ask is asking about timeline, with a couple different options. Okay, is this something that you need turned around ASAP? Is this a campaign that's going to be launching in the next 30 days? Is this just for future planning? You don't even have dates for this yet. You're trying to just set your budget for the next quarter or the next year or for H2, which is, the second half of the year. It just kind of depends on what where the brand is at in terms of the life cycle of planning that campaign. And you can start gauging some urgency without being super overwhelming with this question. Okay, quick pause here. Drop it in the chat. Are you following me here? Is this making sense about why we're designing this flow to start engaging with some of these inbound inquiries, especially if we have a large volume of this? Is this making sense? Usama says yep. Genesis says yep. All right. Any questions here so far? Drop it in the chat. Drop it in the QA. Love to see it. All right. Next set of ideas here. Next question is, okay, maybe we have an open text field here in this next flow is, hey, what attracted you to my content? This question can often reveal a huge amount about why the brand might want to work with you. They may say, oh, I saw this viral video that you had and we really loved that. Or we saw that you are kind of the thought leader in your industry or your niche about this specific thing. And we really want to be associated with you. Or, oh, we really love how you collaborated with this other brand and we want to do something like that. And so you can use that to inform how the thrust of your pitch when you're actually putting this proposal together for a brand. So I love including kind of some open-ended text field questions in this flow for that reason. Here's another thing that you could do is create a quick inquiry bypass option for brands who just want to send a brief message to you directly before diving into details. So whether this is send this message over DM or whether you provide your email address in that next thing, just a bit of context. So when I ran my influencer marketing agency, I would actually be subcontracted by other brands, other agencies who would hire us to execute campaigns on their behalf. And we actually did not have access to the brand's social media account. They did not give us access to the brand's Instagram or whatever to message creators. We had our own domain. It was our own agency, right? And so oftentimes we would prefer to be able to reach out via email to people simply because if I had to DM someone on Instagram, it would be my personal Instagram and someone would see this and be like, who the heck is this guy? They say they represent this large brand over here, but this person has 50 followers. Is this legit? I don't know. This seems sketch, right? And so just remember, put your hat on. Imagine that you are a representative of a brand, whether this is an agency or someone on the brand, someone who is on a PR agency or something for the brand. They may not have the ability to message you from the brand's official handle or platform. And so allowing them a way to actually bypass this screening process and send you a message directly could be pretty important. Okay. The next thing too is kind of at the beginning of this questionnaire, you could say, hey, this is going to take 2 minutes to fill out or something, but it's just going to help me provide you with the most relevant partnership options. And then at the very end of this, you can end with a clear next step and a time frame hey, I'm going to get back to you. Thanks for this. I'm going to get back with you within 24 hours. And so this is a very, very simple, this was 5 minutes that I kind of outlined this flow, and within Manychat, and Raquel and the team from Manychat can back me up here technically in the chat. This is a very simple flow. I see a question here from Peter that says, hey, Justin, how much of a computer geek do you have to be to truly, set this stuff up? Not at all. This is a very, very simple flow, right? This is something as simple as like, when you open the welcome message, in your DMs, brands can self-select that like, hey, I'm a brand, I am a company, I'm interested in collaborating with you. And then it sends you down this decision tree, basically, where it's just basically like 4 or 5 very simple questions that can help you scope the deal. So if you are someone who is overwhelmed by this, you have a large, amount of inbound opportunities that you're getting, this is a very simple flow that you can set up to start gauging, whether or not it's worth it for you to proceed with some of these partnerships. Okay. All right. So let's move on here. So first of all, drop it in the chat. Engaging inbound inquiries. Is this making sense? Do we have questions specifically about this flow? There is a Q&A section in this webinar where you can, ask those questions, especially if it's more detailed, and we can get to those a bit later. By the way, if you have questions about just like brand partnerships in general, pitching brands, negotiating with brands, setting rates, I'm more than happy to answer those in the Q&A as well. So if you have more questions, I know a few of you at the beginning were saying like, all 3 of those things. I want to get more deals. I want to make more money on each deal. I want to, get brands to hire me over and over again. Happy to answer like more detailed questions about brand partnership strategy towards the end of the Q&A as well. Okay. All right. So let's keep going here. Let's keep going. I did also want to mention here before we dive into the section about increasing ROI on campaigns that like you could even potentially build into the flow the ability to allow brands to book a call. So if they answer certain questions above a threshold, so let's say the brand said, oh, 5K plus or 10K plus in terms of the budget range, maybe you all of a sudden, choose a trigger to allow them to book a meeting with you in your Calendly. So Calendly is another tool that you can use that allows you to book meetings. How dope would that be? Would that be pretty cool to just like wake up, in your inbox and you've got like meetings on your calendar from brands that like want to work with you, like who have said that they have more than 10K for their budgets. Like pretty cool, right? All right, so let's move on. So I want to quickly tell a story about a deal that my wife and I were working on with a company called Wander. Okay, so what Wander is it's basically like, think about like Airbnb, except it's like, I guess kind of just like another level, right? It's kind of like quite luxurious. It's not owned by individual people. They're all basically like owned or leased by the company. There's a concierge. All of the locations are like amazing. By the way, it's a virtual concierge, not an in-person one. And just like all the locations are just incredible. And so what happened is that my wife and I booked a vacation, our own money. This was not a brand partnership. We booked a vacation. It was amazing. I was kind of going back and forth with the concierge because I was like, hey, I was curious, do you guys have like an affiliate program? Because we're going to actually like make a post about this experience that we went on. But again, like we were not doing a partnership with them, but we knew that like if we did a post about it, probably people would be like, oh, like send me the link. This is so cool. And so in advance of making this Instagram reel, we reached out to the company and got an affiliate link for our account. And so what we did is we used Manychat for this automation. So we did this reel, and in the caption, you can see here, if you leave a comment with the word Wander, I will DM you the info about how to, visit Wander, how to book this location, etc. Again, this was not compensation. This was pure, and we basically, when you got this DM, here's what it says. Say, hey friend, here's the info about Wander. Justin booked the Wander Orford Cliffs as a Christmas gift, and it was so much fun. He looked into Wander, found out I could have an affiliate link to send to friends who might be interested in staying. Okay, so first and foremost, let's look at some of the stats of this automation. I grabbed this within the first couple days after this video went live, but 244 people in the comments requested this, right? 100% opened, 89% clicked on this affiliate link. 89%. And in fact, we got a bunch of people DMing this that they booked it. So this was one of the messages that we got. Have a safe flight. I'm now down this Wander rabbit hole. I'm planning a birthday trip for my sister. So we started screenshotting the heck out of all of these comments so that we could then go and pitch Wander. And so this is what we did is we used this very, very simple keyword trigger automation in Wander to allow us to have some data that we could use to go back to the brand and say, hey, I know we are an affiliate right now, but I actually think that we should do a heightened partnership, a larger partnership where we're actually, you are compensating us, not just affiliate, you're compensating us to go out to different Wander locations and create content, right? For you to use, for us to, for us to post on our platforms, etc. Okay. And so I just wanted to start this conversation with this example. This is a real example that my wife and I did to pitch Wander on a heightened relationship. Okay. And so I wanted to go down some high level ideas of how you can use Manychat automation in this way, not just about, pitching brands, but ways in which you can increase conversions when you actually execute these campaigns with these brands. Is this making sense? Are you following me? Are you understanding why we need to be setting these automations up and how valuable this can be when interacting with brands? Let me know in the chat. Drop a 1, drop a mind blown emojis. How about the diamond hands? What is this? This one or the diamond? You could even do the diamond emoji. Are we feeling? All right, Renea is saying yes, love it. Peter's got the 1. Matthew got the thumbs up. Dr. Nicholas Jordan has the party emoji. All right, Dan says these are great tips. Thank you for sharing. Nat's got the sunglasses emoji. All right, I am loving this. All right, so let's talk about this. Number 1, creating an email capture for discount flow, where the followers can DM a specific word to automatically receive a sponsor-specific discount code after submitting their email. So it's not just about DMing the keyword and you get the affiliate link immediately. No, they actually have to give you their email address. And they know that this means that you or the sponsor might be following up with them at a later date. Obviously, you have to disclose this fact that you may be sharing email addresses with your partner, or maybe it's not. Maybe only you are collecting this email, and then you have an email automation, an email sequence set up where over the next 7 days, you design 7 emails talking about why the sponsor is great, the features, the benefits. And this is something that you design in partnership with the sponsor. By the way, what do you think do you think the sponsor's mind is going to be blown when they come to you when you come to them with this idea? Hey, I want to set up an email automation. Like for 7 days, if people get, asked for this email, I'm going to it's not just about this one post, social media post I'm making. For 7 days, I'm going to hammer the messaging of why this product is awesome. Boom, 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 boom. Right? So we use Manychat to set up this email capture flow. Okay. Second thing, set up a giveaway entry system where followers DM, the keyword enter and the brand's name to join contests without leaving the platform. Is this feeling good? Big brain move here. That's a great one. How about this? Set up personalized recommendation flows where followers message their needs and get tailored sponsored suggestions. So for example, maybe they say family vacation. So pulling on this Wander idea, right? If someone DMs family vacation, or they DM honeymoon, or they DM couples getaway, right? You could set up some flows in advance with the sponsor so that you get recommended different curated lists of locations at that sponsor that they could go. Right? So maybe you have a list of, you could even get even more complex. You could say, hey, enter your zip code and the type of vacation that you want. And here are 10 ideas of where you could go that's within an hour flight or something. I'm just coming up with ideas here. But think about how much better that conversion is going to be. Where instead of just go check out Wander, here's the link, go check it out, go buck wild. No, this is curating it for your audience. Okay, you're mapping this out ahead of time in advance with the brand. Okay, how about this? You build an appointment booking trigger where your followers can actually message the word consult to schedule a time with either you or the brand rep for maybe high ticket or complex purchases. Wow, this is a big one. What if the sponsor, sells something that's really high ticket? So I work with a lot of creators. I do a lot of coaching with people who they're in B2B, or so they sell something very high ticket, coaching courses, training programs, things like that, healthcare, where the sales cycle is really long. And it's not a consumer facing brand necessarily. And so in situations like that, using Manychat in a brand partnership like this might make a lot of sense, where it's hey, getting on a sales call with the brand rep is part of this flow. How dope is this? David says, I don't know where you're taking that energy from, but it's awesome. All right, let's go. Let's go. I am loving the fact that my energy is coming through this microphone here, David. This is how I always am. This seems weird, but I don't know. I just nerd out over this topic. Y'all, Poppy says your energy is brilliant. This is how I am all the time. Poppy says, I want to work with you. All right, well, Poppy, hit me up. Let's go. Come on. I'm at Creator Wizard everywhere on social media. Shoot me a DM. Okay, so appointment triggers. We're feeling good? All right. Okay, let's keep going. Creating Ask Me Anything flows, where followers can say ask plus the sponsor's name or the product name to get specific questions about the sponsored product. So one of the things I talk about in my book, Sponsor Magnet, like, oh, look at how shameless I am shilling this. One of the things I talk about is like, imagine that you are in the grocery store, or you're shopping on Amazon, or you're at some sort of retailer. What do you do when you go up to a shelf and you are analyzing whether you want to purchase a product or not? I'm just going to do this because I have this sitting on my desk. So I have this extra piece of gum, right? This extra pack of gum. I'm at the checkout in the grocery store, right? And I'm looking at this. Oh, like, what am I thinking as a consumer? Is this too like polar ice? Is this too spicy? I don't like super minty. Or, oh, like does this have aspartame in it? Or like, does this have artificial sugar? Or like, whatever. I'm like doing all these purchasing decision questions in my head of like whether or not this is the gum for me. This is the exact same process that your followers, your audience are going through when you talk about a sponsorship. They're thinking, okay, is this going to work for me? Is this a good value? Have others gotten value from it? You know, blah, 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 whatever the objections are, whatever the questions that people are asking. And so how powerful would it be if you can set up an automated flow where people can actually ask you these questions? They can say, hey, you know, I've been thinking about trying out this, you know, Manychat thing. Is it good though? Like, is it a good value? Like, I see people using it. Is it too complex? A lot of the stuff that you guys are asking in the chat, right? Like, is it about Manychat? Is this a good tool for me? Of course, of course it is. Duh. They didn't pay me to say that, by the way. But of course it is, right? But like your followers, your audience is asking these questions. And so setting up the flow to allow them to answer those questions might be the thing to actually pull them down the purchase funnel and convert, right? Okay, next one. Setting up exclusive early access where followers message something like VIP to get first dibs on limited sponsor offers. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Kind of like a waitlist strategy, maybe. Interesting. Next one, build testimonial collection where followers can message review to share their experience with the sponsor's product or service. Maybe they get some sort of incentive for doing this. How dope would it be if you were able to go back to this? Maybe it's a long-term ambassadorship that you're doing with the brand, and you're talking about them once a month or every couple weeks or every quarter or whatever it is, right? And then you incentivize people to be like, hey, I know if you bought this sponsor's thing, because I've been talking about it for 6 months, I would love to hear how it's been going for you. Send me a video, send me a voice note, send me a text or whatever via DM using this automated flow. And then imagine being able to circle this back to the brand, right? And like, look at these like 10 amazing testimonials that the brand can then go to their boss, or if it's an agency, they can go to their client and be like, oh my God, hiring Justin was amazing. Look at all these amazing testimonials that we're getting from people who are purchasing the products. This is like a game changer here, y'all. Genesis says, I love his energy too. I was about to ask him how many cups of coffee he took. Amazing, all these examples. Okay, so I'm gonna say here, I've got my coffee cup here. I've had 2 cups. So it's not like 7. Like this is just 2 cups, okay? Thorsten says, amazing energy, need the name of your book again. Yeah, it's called Sponsor Magnet. You can go to sponsormagnet.com to pick up a copy. I appreciate it. All right, okay, last thing here, I wanna make sure we got to this here. Create referral programs where followers message refer to get a unique link that they can share with friends for additional sponsor perks. So what if you actually introduce some sort of virality into the sponsorship where in addition to getting some sort of perk, special access to a webinar, special access to a Q&A with you, special discount, like whatever it is, they also will unlock further incentives if they refer friends. You know, you might bring something like this to a brand or a sponsor, and their minds are going to be blown because they'll be like, wow, no one's ever thought of this before. No one's ever asked us about this before. How do you do that? I think as creators, as influencers, as business owners, a lot of times we think that, okay, like brands have it all figured out. Companies have it all figured out. Right? They've got the marketing people. They've got the advertising agencies, the PR agencies. They know all this stuff. Who am I to come bring ideas like this to them? They're going to laugh in my face. I have been doing this for so long that I'm here to tell you, two things. Number one, brands do not have it all figured out. Raquel, maybe you can drop it in the chat, right? Brands don't have it all figured out. They're eager, constantly eager for people to tell them, like, hey, have you ever thought of doing this? And they might be like, oh no, actually no one's ever thought of that. That's a cool idea. Like I was talking, okay, here, this is very meta. I literally pitched this to Raquel. I said, has anyone ever done a session about how to use Manychat to like increase ROI on brand partnerships? And she's like, no, right? And so like, if I was worried, if I had imposter syndrome, and I wouldn't have pitched that, and I wouldn't be here in front of y'all, right? But I think I have something unique to say around how you can use this tool to increase your brand partnerships, right? And so that's number one, is like, brands don't have it all figured out, right? And the second part of this is that leaning into your own credibility, especially within your own niche, there's so much power in that. You are the person that has your finger on the pulse of what is working on the internet, because you're the one posting, engaging, producing, publishing every single day. The brand is not. The brand is not. Actually, here's a bonus third one. There are so many brands that have never worked with a single partner, never worked with a single creator, never worked with a single influencer. Constantly, I'm coaching people who are in a very, very specific niche. Here's a quick example. So one of my coaching clients, her name is Dr. Alex, okay? And she has a podcast called Digital Pathology Place. Okay, so she nerds out all day long about this topic of digital pathology. She's not getting hundreds of thousands of views. She's getting hundreds or thousands of downloads, views on her podcast, YouTube videos, etc. But you know who's in her audience? It's the lab techs. It's the doctors, the veterinarians, the people who work at these medical tooling companies. And these medical device companies over here are sitting here thinking, okay, we have $20 million to spend in our marketing budget. How do we spend the money? Well, I guess we could advertise in this prehistoric trade magazine that we've advertised in for 20 years. Is it effective? I don't know. Does anyone actually read these magazines? I don't know. Or maybe we could hire Dr. Alex. We could roll out the red carpet for her and fly her to our facility, do a tour, fly her to our trade shows. And so she is actually absolutely crushing it with brand partnerships because she understands what the composition of her audience is like. Okay. And so leaning into your own expertise and your own credibility, especially if it's niche, is an absolute game changer. Okay. All right. I know that was a lot, but I wanted to make sure that we left about 20, 25 minutes for Q&A here because I know I threw a lot of information at you at once. So Raquel, how we doing? How we looking here? We got some questions.
We do. We have two questions in the Q&A, and also I saw one in the chat that maybe we can start from that one so we don't miss out. One of the questions, I didn't pick up the name, so sorry if you want to ask more questions, but the question was how to pitch to your dream brand if you've never had a partnership before.
Okay, so this is a really, really good question. And so something I talk about in my book, and I have this up here if you want to check it out. It's called Sponsor Magnet. You can get it at sponsormagnet.com. But the very first section of the book, I talk about my pitching methodology, which is called the ROPE method. So ROPE. So let me talk about the structure of this pitch and why it's so important. So actually, first of all, let's talk about what a bad pitch looks like. This is what a bad pitch looks like. The vast majority of the time when a creator or an influencer reaches out and tries to pitch a brand to convince them to collaborate with them, it sounds something like this. Hi, my name is Justin. I've got this many followers on social media. I get this many views on my YouTube videos, on my TikToks, on my news, this many subscribers on my newsletter, blah, 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 blah. I've been using your product for 3 years. Would love to figure out a way to collaborate. Right? And this is what happens, right? You probably didn't know I had that sound effect. Drop it in the chat. Does anyone feel really seen right now? Are they feeling like horrified right now that like I called them out, like I was reading their inbox? Does this sound like a pitch that anyone has made before? And you want to know how I know you've made these pitches before, because that's what we did. That's what we did when we started out, is we had no idea what we were doing, right? We thought that that's what you should do, but think about it from the brand's perspective. Them receiving this, number one, they do not know who you are. They don't care that you have lots of followers or views or whatever, because there's lots of people on the internet who have lots of followers and lots of views. They don't know how to collaborate with you because they don't know who you are. Oops, they just deleted your email. So this is what happens when you focus on me, me, me. Everything's about me. So what I teach is flipping this. It's not about you. They don't care about you. They care about themselves. And the way in which you craft a pitch about them is this thing that I call the rope method. So R stands for your pitch has to be relevant to a campaign that the brand is either currently running or has run in the past. O stands for organic, meaning that you can tie your pitch back to organic work that you've already published that illustrates that your audience has an affinity for their brand. Not that you have an affinity, that your audience has existing affinity for their category or their product or their service. P in the rope method stands for proof. So you can show how you've helped others achieve results. And E stands for easy to execute when the brand says, yeah, this is actually kind of interesting. So, okay, I'm going to kind of YOLO here because I don't know who answered this question, but let's do a real life working example. Raquel, hopefully this is okay. I think it's going to be helpful for people. Drop it in the chat. If there is a brand that you would love to pitch, the person who asked this question or someone else, drop some dream brands in the chat here, and I will show you how I will craft a pitch for this brand. Straight up, okay? What was the last letter? It was E, so easy to execute, okay? So let me know, drop it in the chat here, some dream brands here that you would love to collaborate with. Okay, so the first one that I saw was from Shalama. It said Under Armour. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up Under Armour's Instagram page here, and I'm gonna walk you through how I think about doing this type of research, okay? You guys are getting some bonus sponsorship pitching strategy right here on this webinar, okay? And I want you to, the whole time, be thinking about how can I use automations for this type of thing, okay? All right, so here we go. So what you did is you told me Under Armour. So the very first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up in Under Armour's Instagram. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can see Under Armour's Instagram on my computer here, right? Can we see this here? Everyone let me know we can see this. Okay, good. Okay, so here's the deal. If we are sitting here in April 22nd, 2025, if you're watching the replay, we're sitting here in April, and I'm thinking, man, I would love to work with Under Armour. And you're thinking, oh, how about like a spring campaign, right? The flowers are blooming, the tulips are up, like Raquel said, right? No, it's too late. It's too late. You want to know why? It's because Under Armour baked their spring campaigns 6 months ago. A gigantic company like Under Armour, they're spending tens of millions of dollars on marketing every year. They have to plan out how they're going to allocate that capital way far in advance. You can't do it a week before. And so my special advice is figure out what types of campaigns was Under Armour running last fall. So I'm thinking August here, right? 4 months from now. I want to know what were they doing last fall. And so that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll back on Under Armour's Instagram, and they probably post a lot of things, so it might take us a little while to get there. But I want to know what were they running last year. And a lot of people think like, oh yeah, but like, aren't they gonna like, are they really gonna run that campaign again? Yeah, they are. You want to know why? Is because brands don't just reinvent the marketing wheel every single year. They just go back to the playbook, what worked last year, and they dust it off and they run it again. Right? This is what brands do. And so here we go. I've been scrolling. So we're here in September. We're getting closer to the fall. This is good. Okay, so what are we posting about here? So we've got just some boxing. I'm looking for something seasonal that might be interesting. So this is August. So we're at about the right time frame here. Okay, so what is this here? UA apparition, stay cool in icy blue. Okay, so golf. Welcome to the squad. So this is someone that they've hired. Oh, this is interesting here. The UA going under golf collection. So the Masters just happened. That's kind of an interesting one. Harper times Under Armour. So there's collaborations that they're doing. What is this one? Olympic gold. Okay, so this was from the Olympics. Okay, UA slip speed. This is like a new product potentially. Let's see. Okay, so this is a collaboration. I want to find something that's like more seasonal. Okay, so they interviewed Steph Curry. So they've got a lot of celebrities, athletes. Okay, so Curry. Okay, so interesting. Okay, so one thing that might be interesting to pitch them is, okay, here's actually a good one. So the UA Unstoppable Cargos. So these things just released, it looked like, in September of 19th. So fall, weather's getting a little cooler, right? You could say something like, in the very initial pitch of this email is, hey, I saw that you launched the UA Unstoppable Cargos in September of last year as part of your fall collection. I was curious, are you going to be doing a promotion around that again this year, or are you going to be launching any other items into this collection in 2025? That's the first line of the email. And in fact, the subject line of this email is UA Unstoppable Cargos in 2025 question mark. That's the subject line of the email, not 100K Instagram influencer. They don't care about this. They don't care about that. They care about themselves. They care about their own promotions, right? Kimberly says, how old is this webinar? You just said 2019. No. I said 2025, like 2025. UA Unstoppable Cargos in 2025, okay? And so that's the R in the rope method, okay? O is organic. So you could say, hey, maybe you're a streetwear influencer, lifestyle influencer, whatever, right? And you say, I also talk about, transitioning your wardrobe from summer to fall and how you can have, create a capsule, collection, capsule wardrobe around that. I don't know. I know enough to be dangerous, but not much, right? A capsule wardrobe around this. And then you link a post, you link a blog post, you link an Instagram post where you specifically call out this transition to fall. And if you do not have a post that you can point to your content that has that organic audience affinity, you make one in advance of pitching the brand. It still serves your audience, right? But you have to be a bit more intentional about your content strategy, knowing that you want to pitch Under Armour in 3 weeks. Is this making sense? Drop it in the chat if this is making sense. Blowing anyone's mind. So this is RO. Last one is P, okay, is the proof. So we say, hey, happy to share how I've helped Gymshark move the needle on a fall marketing campaign that I did with them last year. Maybe not Gymshark there. That's a direct competitor, right? Okay. So that's the P, right? It's the proof element. And then the E is the easy to execute. You're actually pitching them something. You're saying, I'm going to do, as part of this, as part of spreading the word about this, I would love to do, 3 Instagram posts, 3 Instagram reels, promoting this collection. I can shoot and edit the first one and provide you the draft within 10 days. I will grant you the usage rights for 90 days to run paid advertising with this. Are you free on Thursday at 10 a.m. to talk about this? That is the pitch. Contrast that with that, oh, I love Under Armour. I've been wearing your clothes for 3 months. I have 50,000 Instagram followers. Would love to collaborate. No, that's this. That's this. That's that, right? That's what they're thinking when they get that pitch. Okay. All right. I know. I get very passionate about this. I get very excited about this because simply changing up your approach when you're reaching out and pitching sponsors is going to skyrocket your success rate when you're doing these pitches. So the question was, how do you get your first deals? And this is the methodology. This is the mindset that you need to have. It's a shift from me to it's all about them. Last thing I'll say about this before we dive into more questions, which is that this is what they have money for. They don't have random piles of money to pay creators that just reach out to them with their hands outstretched who would love to collaborate with you. No, they have money that's called their budgets for their own initiatives. They've got $250K to spread the word about the UA Unstoppable Cargos. And so your job is saying, hey, I can help you spread the word on that objective if you allocate 50K of this to sponsor me. It's a positioning exercise. Does this make sense here? All right. Love to see it here. Daniel says this is gold. Nat says thanks. Prakesha says we got the rope method. Yeah, Nasheen Costa in the chat says yes, relevant, organic proof, easy to execute. There we go. Love to see it here. All right, more questions, Raquel. I think we got some more questions, it sounds like.
Yes, in the Q&A. Can you see the Q&A box? Do you want to go through that, or
let me? Oh, it was hidden on my screen here. Let me see. Chat. I see attendees. Oh, it was hidden. That's why. There we go. Okay, here we go. We got some questions here. Let's see here. Ashley says, how do you get brands to move into a partner collaboration after sharing about them for free as an affiliate? Okay, so this is a great question, Ashley. So, one of the things I talk about in my book Sponsor Magnet is that when brands there's a lot of different ways that brands will say, hey, we're not going to pay you, right? One of them is, hey, be an affiliate for us. Or, hey, we'll send you the product for free and you can talk about us. Or, hey, our product is expensive, so that should be compensation enough, right? Or, how about we do a trial? And if it goes well, maybe we'll consider paying you down the line. Anyone in the chat ever heard versions of this? Right. And so I think a lot of people hear this and they think, oh, this is just all like different versions of the brand saying, no, we're not going to pay you. And they just kind of tune it out. Right. Ashley says, did you read my emails? No, I've just been doing this for a really long time, Ashley. And so what a lot of people do, and it's the wrong approach, is they say, oh, no, thanks so much, but I'm only focusing on paid partnerships right now, which is literally you slamming the door in the brand's face. Right? The brand just told you they're kind of interested in collaborating with you. This is like an early signal of interest, and you've just slammed the door in their face. And so what you do instead of that is you have to pivot. This is what I talk about, is like, okay, look, you have to be saying different things in every one of those scenarios. So for example, let's say it's the affiliate thing. They're saying, oh, we'd love for you to be an affiliate. Here's what you say. Awesome. I would love to go check out your affiliate program. I'm going to go take a look at this. Just out of curiosity, do your affiliates also grant you the rights to use and repurpose their content for paid advertising? Because that's something that I specialize in. Let me know if you'd like to see a few investment options for what that might look like. Come on, let's go. Come on, right? Like, so what do we do in that instance right there? Right? We all of a sudden made the brand think like, oh, actually, no, our affiliates don't grant us the rights to repurpose their content for ads. Let's talk with this person because that is interesting. We've never thought of that before. So let's get on a phone call with this person. Okay. You get on the phone call with them. What types of things can you explain? You can say, look, like when there is a compensated agreement, a compensated partnership here, like, you rightfully so have more feedback, more creative control over the asset that ultimately gets produced. When you are just gifting, right? You're doing product seeding or you're working with affiliates, you literally have no control over what they're saying, right? It's just if they're mispronouncing the name of the product, if they're not demonstrating it properly, if they are mischaracterizing the features of the benefits, you don't have control over any of that because there's no incentive for them to provide those assets to you in advance for preview. Right? But when you are compensating me, rightfully so, I'm going to give you 2 rounds of feedback. First of all, I'm going to send you a concept in advance before I even produce this. And I'm going to give you, I'm going to allow you some feedback on just the concept. Hey, is this the right direction? Like what you'd like me to see you do? Do you have some other ideas? Let's kind of co-create this. Let's make this a collaborative approach. You get that when you work with me in that capacity. When I actually draft the content, I produce it. I'm going to send this back to you and I'm going to give you up to 2 rounds of re-edits on that, right? You want me to do a slightly different voiceover. You want me to, have some different B-roll. That's fine. Let's do that. Let's collaborate on this. That's what you get when you work with me. In my book, Sponsor Magnet, in chapter 2, which is all about negotiate, I talk about the 4 different pricing models or the 4 different pricing types that you should be thinking about. And this one that I'm describing right now is something called a merit-based pricing approach. And this is where you educate the brand about all the different value that you bring to this collaboration beyond just being an affiliate or beyond just them sending the thing to you for free. Is this making sense? Drop it in the chat here, right? Genesis says, oof. Haha, only if they are using for ads, right? It's so clever. Yeah, of course, right? If brands aren't running ads, okay, so here's another next level thing. Any brand who is running ads on Meta, in the Meta ecosystem, on Facebook, Instagram, you can literally go to their page, it's what's called page transparency, and see the ads that they're running. Anyone can do this. You can literally go and look at the ads that they're running. And you can use that to inform your strategy. You can say, oh, I see that you're running an ad about this right now. Seems like that's important to you. Hey, I actually think I can make some more compelling ads for you to help you get a more efficient ad spend. Whoa, I want to talk with this creator. If I'm a brand, you can get me a more efficient ad spend, say more. Right? Renea says, it's time for me to get your book Sponsor Magnet. Let's go. I hope you enjoy it. I really do. All right, let's answer a few more questions. Raquel, if it's cool, I think we have five, 6 more minutes, right? So let's scroll down. Jessica says in the chat here, again, she's not a plant. I didn't know she was going to be here. She says the book is fantastic. Get it. All right. Well, thank you, Jessica. I appreciate you. Yeah, and just I'll also say that Jessica was at my very first inaugural in-person event called Sponsor Games last month in San Antonio. So she is a model student, a stellar student. All right, let's see here. Grace says just DM book, right? Well, actually, if you go and DM the word book or you DM the word magnet on my Instagram, I will send you the link to the book. That is for sure if you do that right now. Okay, let's see here. David has a question here. What are the best campaigns for service businesses or things to do related to Manychat and what you are doing? Thanks so much for the information. So the best campaigns for service businesses. So I'm imagining that you maybe you could tell me what type of service business you have. But let me tell. I want to answer this question by telling a quick story. So I recently moved from California to Minnesota. Okay, with my family about 6 months ago. It was a big move, cross country, and I hired a handyman to help me with some odd jobs around the house. And I made this offhanded comment one day to my handyman. I said, hey, yeah, the winter is coming and I need to like figure out a way to like get those gutter guards. You know what I'm talking about? It's like those traps over a gutter so that leaves don't get in there and then the water gets in there and it freezes during the winter time. And then it's like a nightmare, right? And I was telling him the story and he was like, oh, well, you know what? I've been working in this area for, 25 years, and there's only one company that you should work with. They're the best, highest quality, great customer service, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, oh, great. Give me the name. And you know what I did? I called that brand. I called that company. I didn't look up a single review. I didn't look at Yelp. I didn't look at, any other review, Trustpilot, TrustAdvisor, whatever. I didn't look at anything. I called the company up. They came out. They gave me an estimate for 5 figures to put freaking gutter guards over traps or whatever over my gutters. And I might do it. And you know what? It was based off of the recommendation of a single service person, single service business, right? And so this is someone who is not an influencer, right? They're not a creator, but they have profound influence within their hyper local niche. Right. And so you can imagine that if you did have an internet presence, a social presence and things like that, an Instagram, a Facebook page or whatever, using Manychat in this way to set up some simple automations and collaborations with other local businesses to send them business in that way could be an absolute game changer. Yeah, you might not get a crazy amount of volume of leads, but if you had one lead for this gutter thing that's like $10,000+, like that could be worth it if you get 1 to 2 to 3 of those a month. So why not go out and try to formalize some of these referral relationships with other vendors in the local community if you're a service business? Is this helping, David? Is this unlocking anything in your mind? Right? I've been doing this for so long that any objection that you throw at me, it's like, oh, I'm too small. I'm not an influencer. I'm not a creator. Like I have a service business. I sell things mainly direct to my audience. Like sponsorships are not for me. I have literally every objection I can handle. I can overturn because I've been doing this for so long that it's not about you. It's not about making you rich. It's about how can you most capably serve your audience or your customers, and doing sponsorships in a way that feels great. It doesn't feel icky. It doesn't feel like a scam. You don't feel like a sellout. You actually feel like you're serving your audience. It's a game changer. So anyways, I know we got about a minute left. I want to have an opportunity for Raquel to come back on and share some additional housekeeping information. But again, I just wanted to say thank you very much to everyone for coming. I know this was a lot of information, but if you did find value from it, I just kind of scratched the surface of the type of advice that I give for sponsorship strategy. And you can go to sponsormagnet.com to pick up my new book. And so with that, Raquel, I'll turn it over to you.
This was amazing, Justin. I absolutely loved your energy. It's kind of the end of the day for me, and you helped me like see a new light of the day. So this was amazing, and it was really great to see how much experience you also have and how you could help all of these users to really see Manychat in different ways, and that's exactly the point. So I suggest everyone to go back to the community. This is where we are going to be posting the recording of this session tomorrow, and we can keep the conversation going there or on your Instagram as well. So I hope everyone can really benefit from this, from your book, from all of your insights. So I want to thank you, Justin, for taking the time to, share your experience, and to everyone for being so engaging, for so welcoming. So thank you all so much, and see you very soon.